you ever notice that some people go through difficult times in life and it just crushes them, and other people go through the same circumstances and they come out even stronger? What is the difference between those two people? Let's talk about that today. This idea of resilience keeps coming up for whatever reason in my life lately, and it has me thinking a lot. Resilience is really what makes some people stand out compared to others through difficult circumstances in life, and I think the ability to be resilient means that you're far likely to get further ahead in life with whatever it is that you put your mind to, your energy to, because you're not going to give up. And when it comes to Filipinos, I think most people would say Filipinos are very resilient people. And I bring this up because I live here in the Philippines, and so I'm really observant of people and the culture and always trying to learn more from people here and trying to understand what makes people tick. And so I would say that in the last few years, when I really think through people here in the Philippines, I would have to say yes, people are absolutely resilient in one way, and I'm not so sure in the other way. So how are Filipinos resilient? Well, I think through terrible events, like for example, Typhoon Odette, which was devastating here. People really were suffering for months in places like the island of Bohol. I mean, for like 10 months, people didn't have electricity, water, internet. It's just really a challenge to find these things. Filipinos really shine amazingly in these situations because they are so resilient. And I think the reason why is because people here just practically from birth are raised in a culture that's very flexible, it's very patient. Patience used to be a word called long suffering, and I really think that that's like the more accurate way to put it. They're really able to put up with things where people would be suffering for a very long time. That's just an amazing thing, makeup to have inside of yourself to be able to weather storms. And people are able to deal with disappointments, life's challenges in these type of situations in an amazing way. The other part of it is Filipino families and extended family really stick together during these challenging times, and I think it gives them the support system to be able to make it through these times. Whereas on the other hand, so often foreigners are going to be complaining, just feeling overwhelmed, depressed, and panic attacks, anxiety, and a lot of other things in the same situation. So in those type of life circumstances, I really find people here in the Philippines are very resilient. But that's just one type of resilience. Another type of resilience is the ability to stick through things that you set your mind to, goals, something entrepreneurial, self-development. That's kind of a different type of resilience where you're not responding to events that are kind of forced on you, like for example, a typhoon, but you are making a decision to do something and to stick with it. So part of me has been thinking, does the one type of resilience where you're just expecting life's challenges and you're able to respond to it because it's almost a normal part of life, does that type of mindset make it more difficult to have the type of resilience where you are going to be proactive to set a goal and to not give up even if there's a challenge? I don't know. These are still thoughts going around in my head, and you guys know I always love hearing your thoughts and questions on this. But the bigger question for me is what makes somebody resilient? The ability to be resilient when you set your mind to achieve something and you're going to keep sticking through it. In my mind, as I've been reflecting on this, there's a handful of things that I think really help one person be far more resilient compared to another. So one of the first things that I think is absolutely essential in being resilient is to have a goal. So I'm really talking here about having more of a proactive resilience to be successful and to not give up in the things that you aim to do. Someone that has a goal has a clear direction. This is the finish line. If you don't have that and you just say, for example, I want to make more money, but there's no end goal, there's not a specific amount, there's not a due date, then you're just kind of left directionless. So I think having a clear goal is really important. However, I also think part of having resilience is having a mission. I was talking with a new friend over here just recently, very successful in business, and we were talking about some of the challenges in terms of recruiting teams here, recruiting employees that will really be able to perform well. And one of the things that she said that really stood out to me is that with the people that are on her team, she really motivates them to have a clear sense of their mission. She said, money comes, money goes, sometimes you make a lot, sometimes it won't be as much, but if the whole team really has a sense of this is why we're doing what we're doing, you have specific goals of helping others, she said that really helps them to stick through the times that aren't as good as otherwise they might hope. So in other words, part of building resilience within her team is making sure that everybody is agreed on the mission, why they're doing what they're doing. Closely related to that, I think that those that have resilience are rarely doing it on their own. I think that we have this kind of romantic notion of the sole hero that's just out there fighting all the bad guys, accomplishing all of their goals, being successful on his or her self, when in reality, I think that it's so much easier for people to develop resilience if they know that they have a support system of people that they could really go there, that they could share everything going on with their life, and that they're just going to simply listen and give good advice where appropriate. So having resilience isn't something that's meant to be purely a solo journey. Yes, you got to do the work inside, but having a clear support system is also so important. Another thing that I really think sets people apart from people that are going to be quick to give up when they have a goal or something that they're seeking to achieve in life compared to those that are really going to stick it out when things get challenging is that those that are more resilient are going to be more comfortable with failure. Failure is not going to be a bad word to them. It's just simply something that is as normal as breathing or walking or talking. It's just part of life that things are going to go wrong at times. There's going to be challenges. Some things are going to fail, and they just see those as learning experience instead of something that's personal. Another thing, and I think sometimes this feels fake with people, but you really have to have a positive attitude as well. If you feel depressed or if you feel down or if you're struggling, that's normal. That's just real. However, if you're the kind of person that's just going to kind of wallow in that, you're going to feel that way for day after day after day, really hard to stay resilient in those situations. You got to feel what you feel. You got to cry. You got to yell. You got to take a nap, whatever you got to do to recover. And then you just got to move on. So having a positive attitude is really important part of resilience. And with that is you need to have self-care. So many people are selflessly doing things for other people, but they're not doing the same thing for themselves. And I find that if you're going to make it in life, if you're going to be resilient, if you're going to overcome the challenges and the difficulties and the stress, that you really need to know what does it look like to care for yourself. For me personally, it looks like just taking a nap sometimes. If I could even just get 20 minutes of sleep sometimes when I feel overwhelmed, I could wake up feeling like a new person. It's really just that simple. That may look extremely different for you. I think I'm a little bit more of an introvert, so I really need to recharge my batteries by myself. Sometimes I love people, but the way I recharge my batteries and take care of myself, sometimes they have a little bit of alone time as well. For other people, self-care for them looks like being in a crowd. Total opposite. They just need to go out, have fun, forget the world around them, and that's what it looks like for them. But for you to be resilient, you really need to think through what does self-care look like for you. It may not be as simple as a 20-minute nap. It may look like something else. All that matters is you are clear on how you are going to take care of yourself in order to be able to be more resilient and weather the storms of life. So I think this is one of those topics that we often don't think about or talk about. For whatever reason, it's been stuck in my mind lately. I'd be curious, what are your thoughts? What do you think makes a person resilient? How do you help yourself to weather the storms in life, persevere, stick to your goals? I'd love to hear your thoughts below. And as always, guys, thank you so much for taking the time to watch, and have a great day. Oh yeah, take care.